It's September 9th, 2013. AverMedia releases their Game Capture HD2, and with it, a dedicated app to manage it, including even features like direct YouTube and Facebook upload. Less than a year later, the app is left to rot, and on November 16, 2025, it's wiped from the app stores entirely. You own nothing. It's August 31st, 2014. Creative releases their Sound Blaster E5 with 2 audio jacks, digital out, dual orientation mic recording that automatically figures out the best settings for you. Bluetooth connectivity that can be used at the same time as USB, support for both low latency and high quality codecs, NFC to pair your phone to it, and is released with ASIO drivers that let you actually make music with it. And it also doubles as a battery bank. All of this controlled using the Sound Blaster Central app, which despite several attempts, hasn't been working correctly since 2020. And on the Windows driver's side, you have to roll a dice to figure out what old version you can hopefully force your system to take without destroying everything. You own nothing. It's January 12th, 2020.
Wow, Fami, what is this? Another video where someone says that we don't know anything and we'll be happy? I am not going to just be a doomer, okay? In a world where Meta is admitting to wanting to steal your soul after you're dead, we justifiably, for God's sake, lose the focus on the smaller things. And today, I want to talk about smaller things and maybe a way to fix those problems holistically. We gotta start somewhere, right? Right? So introducing the piece of hardware that spawned this video. This is a... I just hit my elbow so hard. Huion Note something. So the Huion BMW X5 here lets you basically draw something on paper and immediately get a digital copy of what you were drawing. Let me explain to you how this works in like 10 seconds. Basically, you have a drawing tablet on the bottom here, and then on the top you slide a notebook and you're having a microcomputer, like a small board capturing everything. Okay, that was like 10 seconds on the dot. Oh my god. And you can also get a time lapse of what you were drawing, and this works with Android, iOS, PC, Mac, and you can also just draw stuff when your phone is off and then download it later. So on paper, no, I didn't plan that pun beforehand. The hardware here is incredibly impressive for the price. The software makes this a piece of shit. Every single one of the actually interesting things you want to do with this are only available on Android and iOS. So on PC and Mac, you only get the drawing tablet mode. Huion really wants you to use their app. Alright, fine, let's check it out. Wait, you have to log in? Why do you need my email? It's a notebook. The app is okay, it's not that great, but the time-lapse feature, the thing that actually got me to buy this, used thankfully, it's got a watermark on it. And you can disable it. Why? Okay, so apparently the watermark is only there in the iOS version and not in the Android one, which makes this even weirder. Why? You can buy this old bamboo slate, which is the same product and comes in a bigger size, and it's also like way cheaper to buy used because it's like 10 years old. And this one doesn't require you to log in for the basic features. It still requires you to log in for a time lapse because they're doing it on their servers, and they also have a watermark for some reason. So we have good hardware and terrible software. This problem right here and the one in the intro are the same problem. So how do we fix it? What about just not using the app? A few years ago, when I was super duper unemployed and broke, I had the absolutely brilliant idea to buy a Philips Hue light bulb. I only wanted one smart light bulb to control with Bluetooth, to be able to turn it on and off so that when I was about to sleep, I could just whip out my phone and from my bed, turn it off. And as long as I was doing that, that worked perfectly, okay? No problem. And then I made the mistake of wondering, of course, I can also do this with my laptop, right? Right? According to Philips, it's impossible to turn off this lamp using my computer with Bluetooth. Even though the technology is there, I would have to buy a Zigbee bridge according to them and use that. Now, I could have just kept using my phone since that worked, but this is personal now. Wake up, Mr. Philips! I guess we'll have a lot of fun together. You want to? Okay, yeah, fine, you got me. That's not how we made this work. If you're willing and or unemployed enough, you can make an Apple Silicon Mac run pretty much any iPhone app you want. So I sideloaded, using PlayCover, the iPhone version of the Philips Hue app, and Packet Logger on macOS will let you see whatever your computer was doing at any given time using BLE. So I was able to see precisely what was being sent when I was using the Philips Hue app and what was received, and I just took those packets and repeated them using a Python script, and now I had a one-click thing to turn my lamp on and off. One day later, I searched on GitHub and discovered someone else already did all of this, and I wasted my time because I could have just used their libraries. It's all just data sent through Bluetooth in this case, and when you figure out how it's structured, you can just do what you want without being restricted by any proprietary applications. This is a Skype phone. The Linksys CIT200. Thanks to its proprietary USB 2.0 dongle, it lets you connect to Skype using a cordless phone. Stop worrying about microphones, headsets, Bonzi buddies. All you need is this little phone right here and you'll be set. Wait. Skype isn't a thing anymore. What is going on? You can even directly access your contacts list. What contacts though, if Skype is not around anymore? Thanks to the Linksys CIT200, you can completely break your perception of reality and time and space. Remember when I said that if you understand the protocol of something, you can make hardware your big... I didn't say that actually, but that was the meaning. Yeah, you can do that with everything, including the Skype phone here. This phone was actually never running Skype directly inside of it. It was delegating your computer to do all of the hard work of actually running Skype and only getting what it needed through the Skype API. So audio, contacts data. Heck, you can even see the phone set up as a sound card if you go to the control panel. It's not doing anything. So if you figure out whatever it's doing to connect to the Skype client, or was doing way back when, you can make it do anything. And so that's what I did here. I have this not Skype thing that I built. You can download it if you want. It's free. It's on my GitHub, which is now connecting to my Telegram instead of Skype. And I can also just use it to record voice messages using the crappy microphone here. We are reaching out about your Wii's extended warranty. In this case, I found a library that was meant to make this phone work on Linux 15 years ago, and in order to make it work they had to completely reverse engineer the thing, and so we have a Python script explaining us how everything works, how the communication protocol works, and so you can do pretty much whatever you want using this. Okay, I'm sorry for a small tangent. I wanted to show you how much stuff you can do just by understanding the protocol, okay? But let's go back to the main point of this video, okay? Like Philips Hue, the thing that I did there was step 1, was the first time I did something like this. But that was years ago, and even though this approach right here of sniffing stuff is still valid, you cannot use Packet Tool as I did anymore, but there are other ways, we'll get to them later. As I said at the start of the video, what really led to making this video is this notebook right here, okay? Because in the process of trying to understand how to use this without having to tolerate that application, I've discovered something which might be obvious to a lot of you, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it. In a few words, APKs, or Android Package Kazakhstan, which are the files you use on Android to install any application, are just zip files. You can rename them and you can just extract your content and take a look at whatever is inside of an application. In practice, what this means is that you can very easily just understand by decompiling an APK and or mixing that approach with my sniffing one, write your own software to control whatever hardware is designed to work with Android. Usually pretty much nothing is obfuscated, and I was able to hack every single device I've mentioned up until now in this video. Before we get into it though, this might be illegal in some countries. It's legal in mine. I don't know where you live, so you gotta be careful if you want to try this. So let's get into it, but first I actually gotta pay my bills. So 1 second, I have a sponsor.
Off a sec.
Bring back Clippy! Bring!
Yo, Gamer Family, somebody told me you were in the middle of nowhere right now because of that thing that happened.
Oh yeah, I've had to hide for a bit, but it's fine, I'll manage.
So, did you stop gaming?
Nope, I'm still gaming thanks to the 11 Air phone by Red Magic.
You know that's today's sponsor, right? Can you tell me more about it?
It's the new lightweight and powerful phone by Red Magic that lets you game everywhere pretty much.
Okay, but I wonder what kind of games can you play on it?
I mean, there are more and more AAA games on the Play Store, but you can straight up play PC games on this. I was just playing Mirror's Edge before, and like the phone is so powerful. It's got a Snapdragon 8 Elite CPU, 12 or 16 gigs of RAM depending on which one you pick.
Mirror's Edge on a phone? Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you, I was emulating, you know, the console, okay?
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, this phone has triggers, so I could play Portal 2 emulated there. It's fantastic, I'm telling you.
What about the game space though?
Oh yeah, still there, so if I'm gaming I can turn everything else off and just basically turned it into a gaming console. It's fantastic.
Does it still have the waifu there?
I mean, yeah, of course. Why are you asking that?
What about the screen though? Does it have like an ugly notch?
Notches? Are those still a thing? There is no notch here. The camera simply disappears when you're not using it.
Yo, full screen coverage.
Yeah, 144 Hz OLED. It's so smooth. It's perfect, I'm telling you. You know, it also has a fan with RGB lighting.
It's got a fan? Are you kidding me?
There's a whole vapor chamber to cool it down. It's so good.
What about the battery though? With all that power, do you always need to be hooked to a plug or something?
7,000 milliamperes. I haven't charged it in like days now.
7,000? Are you kidding me? You don't even need a laptop if you have that. Like, it's a portable gaming setup in your pocket.
Yeah, if you want to take a look at it, check out the link in the description of this video.
Alright, thank you so much.
Yo, you don't have to thank me. Thank Red Magic for supporting the channel. Now that's what in the business we call advertisement. But now it's time to go back to the topic of the video, which is hacking today, I suppose. So just a disclaimer that I think is needed. What you're about to see is all work done by me. Sometimes I have to reference stuff from Google or external sources, and I'll gladly quote when that happens. And when I did reach some great results, as you'll see, and some weird ones sometimes, I'm not a programmer or engineer or coder. So this video is meant to be like a John Paul Larkin moment. And by that I mean, if the Scatman can do it, so can you. And I'm the Scatman, philosophically. I'm realistically going to be doing some unintuitive stuff that the expert in the comments will say is wrong and call out, and you're probably right. I am just trying to show that even someone like me who doesn't have any background in coding or anything can make this work by simply using logic and Google and piecing stuff together. I'm also not going to just be throwing stuff into LLMs and making them do everything. I do think the best advice to start this video with is the Game Capture HT2, mainly because I used a lot of tools to understand how this worked, but after I did that, it was remarkably easy to actually get control over it. So even though the first thing I hacked was the Huion, I think we should start with this one. And it's a quite interesting piece of hardware because I got this for like €5. It's an old capture card. It's standalone. It works great actually. Like you can do 720p 60 from components, so I can record from my Xbox, GameCube, Wii, that's what I want. And it comes with both an Ethernet connection on the back here that was used to communicate with the internet if you wanted to upload stuff to YouTube or Facebook, which doesn't work anymore because the API changed. There is a hard drive bay, a 2.5 inches hard drive bay. I have the most generic hard drive inside of it and it just works. What led me to want to hack this is that it was extremely cheap. I got this without a remote, but there you go, you have one now. The fact this used to upload stuff with an Ethernet port, like it used to push out videos, makes me think that with enough effort we can actually maybe control this over the network and download videos remotely from it to our computer, which would be very cool. Okay, OBS is running. So what I have here on my desktop is my GameMate application that I of course extracted from a phone that I have in my house in a drawer somewhere. It was the application that AverMedia published to control the Game Capture HD. So we really want to look inside of it, and to do that I'm gonna use something called JADX, Java Android Deep Extreme. JADX lets you easily extract and decompile any Android APK, so it's, I think, and I want to stress I think, I'm not a programmer, the easiest way to take a look at the code here. The most important part here is that we get to search strings inside the application. And so I've seen a few screenshots of this and I've noticed that there's an IP address. The IP address of the Game Capture HT2 connected to your router is displayed on the application, so this thing is probably using your network to communicate. So basically, as far as I understand, your phone is connecting to your router, which is also connected to the Game Capture HT2. So I guess we should be looking for network stuff. HTTP. We have a lot of Facebook stuff. We're going to ignore this for now. HTTPS, the EOS method get file content. Is this a way to get files from here? Here we have links mentioning pairing, device name, remote control keys, like F2 here, F1, F3. I think we should look at this file in more detail, and normally you would extract this, and using a hex editor and these settings right here, you can read the stuff like we're doing now. And from there we could manually adjust the formatting and everything, but I'm too lazy for that, so I will just use NSA tools. And we're going to use Ghidra, which is actually made by the NSA, that's not a joke. It's a decompiler, it's basically like JADX, but for everything. We can take a look at every binary and try to decompile it back to the source code, because there is one thing that I need Ghidra for, and it's extremely overkill to use it just for that. What I want to do is I want to look for HTTP like we did in JADX. HTTP, we have this EOS thing here, and I want to actually extract all of this and put them in an Excel file just to actually be able to read them. So based on like other applications I've cracked open in the past, I think these are like URLs that let the application, and so your phone, communicate with the box using an API. If you don't know what an API is, it's basically a way for two different pieces of software to communicate between each other. So when you're checking the weather on your phone is using an API to get the data for the temperature in your city, for example. The GameMate app and the Game Capture HD2 use an API to talk with each other. So if we know how that works, we can potentially do a lot of stuff. Okay, so small time jump, I think I found something here. Looking for IP and port, I found got device IP S and port is T. Have you ever played Minecraft and hosted a server for your friends? That's the same structure there, like IP and port. So the IP here is not hard to find. We can just take a look at our router's admin panel or go into the settings of the Game Capture HD2. There's our IP there. I don't know what the port here would be, but basically, like, the way you use this is our phone sending unencrypted, because it's not HTTPS, plain text data to our Game Capture HD2, passing through our router. We take either a real old phone or an emulator, and we simply run GameMate on it. Okay, the real APK, the real application. But instead of connecting it to a normal router, pretend there is a router in the middle, but actually we basically put a computer in the middle, pretending to be a router, but it's actually running Wireshark and it's capturing all the traffic for us. Yes, so my plan was really to do a man-in-the-middle attack between the application and the AverMedia Game Capture HD2, that's a long name. Basically spying the traffic on my own network to figure out how the two things communicated, and from there figure out the port. But I learned from my mistakes, and before doing that, I searched on GitHub and found someone else that did. So shout out to Iki, so I hope that's how you read that, because what you're looking at right now is his own network capture. He did exactly what I was describing now. He intercepted the traffic between the two things, and yeah, he saved me a lot of time. I don't have to do that now. Thanks to this, I can tell you this right here, 24170, is the port that is used by the application to communicate with the capture box. And so I can open Chrome now, I can put in my IP, I can put in the port, I can put in the lines we figured out before, and we are controlling the box. These links right here are divided neatly into method and query, which are post and get. So some of them require me to use the Chrome console, but we need have full network control of the device now. Alright, so I've made this very simple Python script here, which is just sending those links for me, instead of like having me type them or copy paste them in the dev console. And I want to show you that right now I am controlling this thing over the network using this as my virtual remote. It's not perfect, but it does work. And it's all like everything here is those links. The only thing that's kind of a pain in the ass is how I've implemented the pairing. It's been just trial and error, basically. Using a virtual remote control over the network is not impressive. What's impressive is that someone in the issues of the GitHub repo mentioned that, yes, the get file content feature we found is actually for downloading files. And I've used that combined with other stuff we found, like the get folders link and everything to do this. We can get a list of every single thing that's on the hard drive of the Game Capture HD or the USB drive, and we can download everything directly over the network. This was never a feature in the application as far as I can tell. I do know my audience because I also used to be this way, and I know a lot of you are not going to touch a terminal no matter what, so I've made this Electron version of the thing that you were looking at. It's the same thing. They are the same application, but one lets you do stuff without having to type anything. So if you don't want to do that, you can just use this GUI version. And yeah, it should work on anything that can connect to your network. It's not malware, you can check the source code, you don't have to trust me, it's open source on my GitHub. So as you can see, it's always packet sniffing and decompilation and throwing stuff at the wall until something sticks. And if you're like wondering, okay, like this worked pretty well once, but how much further can you just push unzipping stuff that you shouldn't unzip? So, Huion note, terrible app as I told you. There's one feature though that's quite intriguing, and that's the feature that lets you export the files from the application into another version of itself on another device. Now it's gonna save .ahn files if you're using Android and .huion.ios if you're using iOS, but you're never going to guess what this file actually is. Of course, it is just another renamed zip file, and if I take a look inside of it, I find a PNG for whatever I was drawing, and also this very mysterious file right here, which just opens very easily on any notepad, and it's a bunch of text. It's a JSON file, it's data, specifically data about strokes. It's telling us exactly what we were drawing, how long it took, and the coordinates. And using Python, which is the only language I'm really familiar with, I took this data and I basically told my computer, okay, when you read this, you have to draw these pixels at these coordinates. And basically, that's already enough to build a converter to render this fast without a fucking watermark. But I want more. I want to use my goddamn notebook without any logins or emails. That's really what tilted me. Like, I'm not kidding. This thing right here is why I learned how to decompile APKs now. And so I've decided to use a mixed approach here, okay? Before decompiling, before taking a look at JDX, I've used Frida, specifically Frida Gadget, which lets me inject some stuff into an APK, and using that I can monitor whatever the application is doing with my phone. So if it's connecting using Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, if it's sending any data to any place, I can see that on a log on my computer. This is called dynamic instrumentation. We are basically trying to make a black box of an application transparent. That's the best way I can explain this. What I'm doing here is basically I am taking all the traffic that's going between my phone and my notebook, in this case, on Bluetooth, because I know that's how they communicate, and like capturing it all without any encryption. And doing that, I can then analyze what's going on. It's basically my Philips Hue approach, but on steroids. And in this case, I did have the AHN data to compare stuff to. And yeah, I did need some help from friends to understand how this Bluetooth packets changed, because stuff like Little Endian and Big Endian, I'm just learning stuff like that now. And in the end, I also ended up just cracking open JADX because I wanted to see how the Bluetooth packets are made inside the application. And so after piecing all this information together, what I've made here, which is imperfect and took more time than anything else, is taking notes.inc. It's a free website. You can just use this, no ads, no anything. It's open source. And you can connect here using your notebook, and your computer or whatever can run Chrome and use BLE. This is a test, I guess. That's a scary smiley face. Digitalized version right here, and I do also have like the whole animation and everything. It just works like a better version of the original app without any login. But another thing that I'm really proud of here is that, so let me disconnect this, okay? So let's just turn this off. We are offline now, okay? Let's flip the page. Let's just write something without being connected to the computer in any way. Hello. But yeah, so we have this note here. I'm going to save it. I'm going to press that button there. And I want to show you that using my BLE dumps and some information that I got from JDX. Okay, it's pairing again. I love this little log here. You can see what's going on. And yeah, okay, I should probably also fix like the stroke. But yeah, you can download your offline stuff. And you can, of course, render your animations here without having to like have any watermarks. You can set your own frame rate. It's like everything that I wanted, I've just made. But there's one more thing that I want to show you here. I'm going to pull a Steve Jobs today because, okay, I do need to like move everything out of the way to do this. This right here is a Wacom Slate. I think the name is Slate. The thing that you should buy because it's cheaper and better than the Huion one. And yeah, I've discovered that someone else way before me has... Okay, so when it comes to this, the credits actually go to Tuhi Project on GitHub, okay? I only ported their work to my web application here, but as you can see, it is working pretty great. Except for me getting this blatantly wrong, I've inverted these modes here. I do need to fix the Wacom downloads feature. It's probably going to be ready by the time this video launches. But now it's time to move on, because doing this actually gave me the skill to hack something, to control something that I've always wanted to actually use properly, because I've loved it for the longest time. The Sound Blaster E5. This thing right here, I got it for 30 euros on the used market, and it's fantastic. I think it's competing with like stuff that comes out today on the market, because it's a sound card with so many features, as you've seen in the beginning of the video in that intro that Resurrecting. Thank you so much, man. That for me. What I particularly love is that I can have this plugged to my computer and phone at the same time. The only problem is that this software sucks balls. It sucks so much. When I try to reinstall the drivers for this on my Windows 11 computer to record them for you, like the screen recorder, my computer first blue screen, and then the drivers corrupted my whole Windows installation, and so I had to actually format my whole computer, and yeah, it was a mess. There are like some fan-made drivers, which are like a hack job on GitHub, and that's what I'm using. I've had zero problems with them. The ideal goal here would be having something that lets us skip drivers completely and make this work on Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever. So let me try to do that. This one right here was actually the one that took me the most time, even though I didn't do anything really different from what we've done already. I'm using Wireshark, which is the same software that we use to analyze the traffic between the Game Capture HD2 and the phone. But this time we're using it to capture USB data with USB pickup. And so here I have all of the data that's going through my USB hub, like one of my USB hubs actually. This is one out of 4, I think. And my Sound Blaster E5 is plugged to this one. And so I actually installed the official Sound Blaster control panel, which originally, like, to make this work, I had to sideload the G6 drivers, even though I have an E5. I don't know why that worked. After applying a filter here, because I only want to see this device right here and USB HID, I basically, like, pressed every single button here and slided every slider to see how stuff changed. As you can see here, we have this transmission of data using this protocol USB HID here. This is recording what I'm doing here on the app and what I'm sending over USB HID to my Sound Blaster. Basically, this is like the raw data. And the reason I did this, the reason I know how to do this is that here we have Ian Douglas Scott in 2018, which did exactly this to figure out how to control his E1 on Linux. And then after exporting this and collecting all of this data here, all this USB HID data, which looks like gibberish here, I just opened the Sound Blaster APK here. I took a look around. We have the source code. We go to com. I think it's creative. Yeah, lib. Okay, so here we have the whole protocol that is used to communicate with the card explained here. And so after piecing all this data together and asking some friends to verify if what I was doing was like not too wrong, I've made this, which is also open source and it's a bit buggy, I'm going to admit it. USB, as you can see, and Bluetooth. Here we have all of the data that the original application was telling us and more. And we also have all of the controls you might want here. So for example, we have the EQ with the presets. You can set the microphone in like with a lot of detail here. I only had the E5, so I can't properly test this, but this software should also work with other Sound Blaster cards if they were supported by either the old Windows application or the Android one. The video was originally only meant to show you how I hacked my Huion notebook, but then it kinda grew like out of proportion, and I gotta put a stop to this. Like, the point that I'm trying to make here is that you should try to do this on your own if it's legal where you live. And yeah, I gotta stop. I gotta stop or this will get weird.
So today I'll show you a scientific discovery that I made. This is an ultimate ears boom, which is like, it's just Logitech under a trench coat. But basically I have this normal boom here. It's a Bluetooth speaker, you can control it using this app, and I decided to like just extract the app. I mean, it's a zip file. Why wouldn't you do that? And there is a file like in the assets called Skrillex.bin. And so I googled Boom 2 Skrillex, and it turns out there's a Skrillex version of this. And I was like, damn, I really want a Skrillex Boom, but I can't find one. So can I do surgery on mine to make it a Boom? Yeah, the Skrillex Boom does have some custom sounds, and so I was like, yeah, what if I just write my own Python script that is pretending to be an updater, but it's actually lying. It's saying my Boom is the Skrillex one when it's not. And yeah, when you do that, you're basically doing surgery, and now your boom becomes a Skrillex boom. Okay. But then I went further and I realized like there are a lot of limited edition booms, and apparently everything is on a separate partition when you're updating them. And so I was like, wait, are these MP3 files? Yes, they are MP3 files. What if I try to just replace them with my own sounds? And yeah, it turns out that you can just make your own limited edition boom. Like, this is my Gex boom now. Or my Mario 64 boom.
So long, Bowser.
And you can make your own boom too, I guess. Yeah, so this is the surgery tutorial. Thanks for watching. Leave 5 stars and a comment. When you buy something, it's yours. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want with it.